everybody, this is Pam with Jesus Junk Journals, and we're working on that Joy Journal. And today I'm going to tackle that 3 flap folio. So with all the pockets and all the crazy stuff. So come on with me and we'll get that thing put together. All right, this is Pam with Jesus Junk Journals, and today we are going to make this 3 flap folio. So here it is put together. Open it up. And there's these 2 pockets with the circles, and then there's this pocket in here, and then there's 2 pockets on this flap, and there's a pocket up here. So, to be completely honest, I have to admit that I was doing this one as a demo for you guys, and I messed it up, and so now I'm going to do another one because I realized a better way to make it. So, here we go. So let me go over the pieces you're going to need. You'll have these 2 big green flaps, and 2 pink flaps. One of each of them has a tab for gluing onto your journal. There's this pocket. Not sure why I have 2. It's a little concerning. Oh, I know why. Okay. These 2 pockets go with these 2 flaps. Okay. Whew. And then this is the large pocket. You'll have this little pocket is on a page with some other items, so you'll have to look for it, but it's going to be that inside pocket that I showed you. And then these 2 pieces, and then the full page flap. So the first thing I'm going to do is ink everything. So I'm going to turn the camera off and I'll be back in just a minute after I've inked it all. Oh, wait, one more thing. This is white, and so you can address this however you would like. I am going to use a stencil and some distress ink and ink it just so it's not completely white. So I'll show you that too. So I'll be back. Okay. I am back. Hopefully my fan that's going on in the background won't be too distracting. I forgot how hot it gets up here. My craft room is over the garage, and in the warm weather it gets pretty hot up here. Okay, so I inked these pieces. Now here is something else you're going to need. To make the circle closures, you're going to need 8 little cardboard circles, and then what I do, and if you cut them out of brown cardboard you won't have to do this step, but I use this white cardboard that comes with my copy paper, and so I just cut out 8 circles because it's really thin and I can use my scissors. And so then I cut out 4 more circles out of just brown paper. And then the other thing I do is I cut out little spacers, and I did not do that, so let me grab a pair of scissors real quick. And what I do, I need 4 of them. I just cut, let me cut a chunk of cardboard here. I'm just going to cut rough shapes. They don't have to be real circles. So there's 1. And these serve as spacers in between the circles so the string will wrap around better. You can also use, some people take a grommet and just smash it and glue that in the middle to space up the 2 circles so the string will wrap. I do this. It's not quite as thick as that, but it works. So I just cut. As long as they're smaller than the circles, you're all right. So I've got 4 little shapes. And this is what let me go back to the finish. This is where I messed up when I did this the first time. So I waited till the very end and I put my circles on, and guess what? I had these pockets glued down. So what I did is I had this pocket glued down and I had to put this in with the brad, and I couldn't get into here to smash the brad down. So you've got to put these circles on first. And so I had to lift this up. You can, if you happen to do that, just pull it up and you can fix it and then just glue it back down. It's no big deal, but since I'm doing a demonstration on how to do this the best way, I needed to start over with you guys. So let's take care of those right now. So what we're going to do, they're going to go on these two pockets. And you're going to want, of course, to center this. And so it is about 3.5. And so the middle of that would be 1 3/4. And you're going to come up the center. Let me actually, I did not measure that. Let me look real quick. The center of this circle from the bottom of the pocket is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8. 5/8 of an inch up from the bottom. So one and a half, 1 3/4, and then 5/8 inch up. So about right there. And so here's another way to do that. If you don't want to use a ruler and do all that, and I do this a lot, I'll take just a scrap piece of paper. I'm putting it right in the center of that, measuring, and then making a mark, like right here. So let's double check it. So it's like right there. So see, it's a little higher than it should be. So I'm gonna move it down here. I like that way of doing it as a more accurate. The circle will cover it. And then the other thing you can do is to double check that, is to take this same piece of paper and just make sure it's the same on both sides. And it's pretty close. So that's pretty accurate. So I'm going to take this pocket, and that shows me, since these stripes, it makes it easier. I'll know it goes between those two stripes, and then it goes up that far. So however you want to do it to get your mark. So you get some brads. So you're going to get 4 brads, and I use these Jim Holtz. They're called long fasteners, and you can order them online. Sometimes they have it at Hobby Lobby and other places. So I am just gonna, let's see, what color do I want? I'll use up my copper, since this is sort of pink, if I can get to them. And then you're gonna need your awl that you use when you bind your journals. And I use a piece of foam that was just some packing on an Amazon package to stab into. If you don't have something like that, just take a piece of paper or cardboard and fold it into several layers to give a cushion underneath it. And so you've cut out your circles. Now I'm gonna do one more step that I haven't done yet. I'm gonna ink these because they're white. And so I'm just gonna, if you have a punch that cuts cardboard, well, that's awesome. I need to get me one of those. I cut them with scissors, which, you know, it just takes a second, but it is kind of a pain. I do not like to cut circles. Get my Barely Art glue, or you can use whatever kind of glue you have. Art glitter glue, so on. This Barely Art, I'm really liking it. I had used the glitter glue before, and it's, you know, it doesn't really let you reposition anything. Once you stick it on, it's pretty much it. This lets you slide it around a little bit and have a little bit of wiggle room, literally. So I am liking it a lot. One of my subscribers suggested it to me on YouTube, and I'm so thankful, whoever you were, that you told me about it. And actually, I think it was Heather that told me that. So Heather, thank you. Okay, so now you take this brown circle, a spacer, and then another circle, make a little sandwich out of it. And then you take your awl, and I just eyeball it and poke the center. And then poke it into where you want it on your pocket. Kind of work it in. And then take your little brad, poke it in, and bend your little feet. And then you can, actually this won't show. I mean, you could put tape over it if you wanted to. Maybe I will just to, what it might do is keep from catching when you poke a a journal card in there. I don't know if you have anything attached to your journal cards or not, but it might make it a little smoother. So I'll do it just in case. And then here's the next one. So again, you take the brown one, take a spacer, and take another circle, make a little sandwich. Stab it in the center. Oh, and then poke a hole where you want it on your pocket. Take this little brad, put it through the circles, put it through your pocket, open it up, put a piece of tape, circles for that. And since I'm doing this, I might as well do it all at one time. So I'm going to take the flap, and now you want to center this. It's the same width as the other one. But I'll tell you what, instead of messing with that, I'm going to do my other technique, which is, so I'm going to lay the piece of paper over it, and I'm going to mark it, and then I'm going to fold it in half, and there's my center. And I know that I want the circle just at the bottom of that little sticker. So I'm going to come in. There's the center. So I'm going to come in, and the circle is 1 inch, so I want it to be about 1/2 inch down. So what I'm going to do is mark 1/2 inch on here. Okay, and so I'm going to come down 1/2 inch, and I'm going to make a little mark because the circle is big enough to cover a mark. So I'm going to make the first mark 1/2 inch down, and then I'm going to come over with this and mark the halfway mark. And it looks like I pretty much got it where I want it. And then this one, I want it in the same place. So I'm going to go about 1/2 inch down from that stamp or that little post, that little sticker. And then I'm going to double check that I have that centered. And it looks pretty close. So that's my little center point. So then I'm going to make my little sandwich, take the brown paper one, the little spacer, another circle, and I'm going to guess where the circle is, or guess where the middle is. Poke it with my awl, kind of wiggle it around. I'm going to poke this with my awl. Put my brad through it, put it through here, pull the little feet apart, repeat it with this one, and there you go, got your circles on. Okay, so that was one of the things that I learned to do first. So we're going to set those aside, move this out of the way. And we're going to take our flaps. Now all these flaps that have these little tabs, you're going to want to fold it and use a bone folder and push it down so it's super, super flat. If you don't have a bone folder, just use a ruler or anything, and even your fingernail, and just mash it as flat as you can. Now, one side has a flap and one doesn't, so you're just going to glue these back to back, the pink to the pink and the green to the green. So get your glue pretty close to the edges. You might have a bit of a white flash on one side or the other, like this one. You can trim it later. Do the same thing with the green one. Push it down to the tab. Line it up as best you can. Now, if you want to, you can take your scissors and trim the white flash off. Or if you don't want to, you can just take Distress ink and touch it. It'll kind of disguise it. And it's also cute if you stitch it. So now you need to make a decision. It can go this way, or rather it can go this way, or it can go with this side out. You can put the green at the top, you can put the pink at the bottom, however you want to do it. Now, one consideration is this one flap has joy on it. And so if you want that to show when it's shut, you would want to put that on the top. And I think that's what I will do. That's what I did on this other one. And we'll glue those on next. So you want to pull your pages out. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to put this one on a brown double page for a journal. And the reason is because all my pages are for my journal, and I've already got this glued in, and I don't want it in the journal twice. And so I'm just going to go ahead and do it for you using this brown paper, but they're the same size. So what I did is I just went through my journal and I found where I had colors that went well with this, and just picked a page, and that's where I decided to put it. So the tab will glue on the left side, the white. We've got to deal with that. So this is white when you print it out, and so what I did to disguise it, you could either decoupage or you could do jelly plate printing on it. I took a template, or a stencil just a second ago, and I pulled out the cracked pistachio Distress ink and the tattered rose, because those seem like they went with the colors pretty well. I'm gonna go ahead and use this. I think it's the wrong green, but I'm gonna use it anyway. Those seem to match the artwork pretty well. So I just went and kind of made stripes, basically. Kind of skipped around and took the pink, and alternated them. Takes care of that. You could decoupage, you could, do a lot of other things too. So do as much or as little as you want, just something to cover that up. All right, so I'm gonna glue this on. It's good to get your glue right up to the edge of the fold. And now this is one good thing about the Barely glue. It is a little bit easier to reposition than the glitter glue, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the very edge. You want it as close to the edge as you can get it. And so I'm gonna put it on there, and then from the other side, look at it, make sure I get it on there as straight as I can. So look at this here, because it will, just a little bit of a twist on it will make it stick out. So make sure you've got it as straight as you can. Get it to the edge. And then I am going to go ahead and glue these flaps on. This is at the top so that Joy is readable. And the same thing with this one, you want to get it as close to the top as you can and not create a white flash. And you've got room here with this flap, so you can move it over onto that. Don't crowd your fold like I just did. I'm gonna pull that off. You don't want to crowd where your fold is, where you're gonna bind your journal. So I'm gonna pull that off because I don't like the way that went down. Move it over just slightly. Leave myself just that little bit of room right there. Shut that flap just to make sure you've got room for it. If for some reason you forget to shut the flap to check it and it sticks out too far, just take your scissors and just trim it off. It'll never show, it won't make any difference. Now we're gonna do the bottom one, and of course you can figure out which one you like the best. On the other one, I think I'm gonna use this one this time. So put glue on, pull it to the edge. Make sure it lets that flap shut. Okay, now I'm going to open it up. I'm going to take some washi tape and add glue, and I'm just going to cover these flaps with some washi tape just to make it a little more decorative, because now you're gluing this to an actual journal page, so it's not brown paper, but you'll have this white edge if you don't cover it with washi tape. So that's a choice. If you want to leave the flap, you can, but kind of make it a little better disguise. Okay. Just make sure it all folds good. All right, so now we can go ahead and put our, put these pockets on. I like to cut a little notch in my pockets. So I have a big circle cutter, and so I'm just gonna kind of eyeball where the center is and just go down just a little bit. Cut that. Do the same thing on this one. While I'm at it, I've got this big pocket that's going to go over here. I'm going to go ahead and cut just a little bit bigger one on it. And then take the finished photo ink and ink that just real quick, just a little bit on both of those. Okay, so those go here, and then you've got your pocket, your flap that comes down over it. So when you space these, you're gonna cover, if you cut a notch, you're probably gonna want to cover the notch. So just kind of eyeball it like that, just to see where you want it. And so that kind of gives you where they'll lay out. So there's a little bit of space around them, just as kind of a rough place to go. And so what I'm gonna do now is glue one down. So I know it's gonna go about there. So I'm just gonna put the glue on the three edges. And since I left that one there, I kind of have an idea where it's gonna go. I'm gonna leave myself a little space over here on the edge. Glue that down, and then glue this tab. Make sure you have the glue up against the fold as much as you can. And then I'm gonna lay it so that it's over where it's notched, so I kind of know where the spacer is. And then glue this down, try to keep that same edge over here so I know it's straight. Glue that down. Now I'm ready to do this one. So I glue this. And kind of look at this one, and so I look at the space I have here, try to give myself that same space there. Whoa, I feel like something was under there. Okay, and then try to line it up with this. Not sure why that's buckling right there, but it should lay flat here in a minute. And then put glue on this flap. Make sure it covers the That is so crazy. I guess it's that brad. Okay, so I'm going to cover the little notch. I'm going to look at this one, make sure it's going to line up with this one over here. And make sure it looks pretty straight with everything. And then kind of fold that flap under it and glue it. Okay, and then I'm going to take my wax linen thread that you use to bind your journal, and you're just going to tie it to one of these circles in a double knot. And wrap it a couple of times, whatever you feel like you like it to look. Maybe once around that, and cut it off. Do the same thing on this side. And then I go back and cut this little tail off where you first cut it, or tied it, I mean. Cut that off. Make sure you're cutting the right one. This one. And that's that. You got those little pockets finished. Okay, so now we're going to take these inside pockets. You got your flaps open. And so this pocket goes here and this goes on top of it. So I'm going to start with this one and glue it. And it's made to have just a little bit of space at the bottom and sides. And then I did this last time too. It's not quite. You got to kind of line that. You have to line it up with the top better than that. So like this line and this line kind of need to be straight. So, or at least not drive you crazy when it's off there. Okay, not too bad. And then put glue on this edge. And just, it's going to be a little ways off the edge too. Now the top has a pocket. It's this pocket, and this actually is exactly the size of the flap, so it's going to line up with the edge of the flap. So we're going to put glue on this edge and this straight edge. So put it on there and then make sure it shuts. And if it sticks out at all, you can always trim it. Or ink it. I think I'll just trim it. And those are those pockets. And then the only pocket left is this big pocket, and it goes over this. So put put the glue on this edge here. And put it near the bottom. Not too close to the fold here, because you remember you're going to bind it there. And that's it. That is the three. Oh, wait, one more step. Sorry. Okay, so we shut it. And we shut it. And to keep it shut, we use the seal, which I don't know what I did with mine. Let me find it. Okay, well, I cannot find my piece of paper, so I'm just going to show you with this one. This little square, you're going to glue it about halfway on each side and across the bottom. And that'll create a pocket that you'll put your flap in. So it will shut. It'll shut like this. And this will tuck into that fold. So you're gonna glue that on like that. And as soon as I find mine, I will finish this one. But anyway, that is the 3 flap folio. I hope that that was clear, and I hope you liked it. If you like the video, click like, please, and think about hitting the subscribe button. I would love for you to do that. And I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.